Yo fam, what's going on? I'm Zashak here, and it's been a crazy 2 months for technology. Every year we get to see a new phone from Apple, Google, and Samsung, but this year we got to see more than one type of device from each major company. Google announced their Pixel 3, Pixel Slate, Google Home Hub, Samsung announced their Note 9, S9 series, and their Bixby speaker, and Apple announced their XS, XR, and iPad Pro. See, as you can see, it was just not one product. There was multiple products that were announced by each company, and this also is tailored towards computers. Microsoft, a huge computing company, announced their new Surface headphones, which I'll be reviewing soon, and 2 new laptops, the Surface Pro 6 and the Surface Laptop 2. Apple also announced 2 new computers, the Mac Mini, the new Mac Mini, and the new MacBook Air. So today we'll be focusing on the Surface Laptop 2 and the new MacBook Air because those are the 2 latest Ultrabooks that are out right now from the the 2 biggest companies in the world, Microsoft and Apple. So let's get right into it. Sometimes I like to get straight into the point of my videos, and I want to start off by how each performs differently from one another. Now the baseline for both laptops is an i5 processor, but the Surface Laptop has a U chip and the MacBook Air a Y chip. What makes these processors different are power and battery life. I've noticed that games on the Surface Laptop 2 perform better with more frames compared to the MacBook Air, and gaming on the Air does throttle a lot and the fans does get pretty loud. For a Y processor, the MacBook Air does have an included fan, but it still failed to control the heating and throttling on this laptop. On the Surface Laptop, the fans were much quieter than the MacBook Air, and as I previously said on my review, the Surface Laptop 2 has probably one of the quietest fans that is out on the market right now. Now since the Surface Laptop is a little better in gaming compared to the MacBook Air, neither of these 2 Ultrabooks are meant for gaming because you're not getting the smoothest performance. If you do want to game, you would have to tone down the resolution a little bit, and that does take the fun out playing games because you don't want to play games on your PC or Mac with bad quality. And also guys, I do have a review for both of these laptops and I'll leave a link right below, so make sure you guys check them out. The U chip has an advantage of performance over the Y chip, but due to the extra performance, the Y chip has the benefit of a longer battery life. And this was true because on my Surface Laptop 2, I was receiving around 7.5 hours of on-screen time. A little disappointing because these products aren't cheap. However, on my MacBook Air, I was capping close to 9 hours of on-screen time because of that sacrifice in performance in the chip. Now some of you guys may be like, that's only an hour and a half to 2 hours of difference in battery life. Well, if you're on the go, if you're in school and you're losing charge, you don't want to rely on your charger. So that extra time that you're getting on the MacBook Air does really come in handy. Now one thing I want to mention about the performance, the baseline for both models is at 8 gigs of RAM, but you do have the option to buy a model of 16 gigs of RAM, but they're not expandable, meaning you wouldn't be able to upgrade the RAM by yourself. Next thing I want to talk about are the displays. The Surface has a 13.5-inch touchscreen display with a resolution of 2256 by 1504, and the MacBook has a 13.3-inch non-touchscreen display, which is Retina, with a resolution of 2560 by 1600. Now this is the first time we're seeing a Retina screen on a MacBook Air, and the quality seemed crisper and more color accurate. But the black levels on the Surface Laptop seem a little bolder. But besides the quality on these 2 displays, what makes them more different is the height. As you can see, the Surface is slightly taller and the MacBook Air is slightly wider. This is because of their aspect ratio. The Surface is 3:2 and the MacBook Air is a more common 16:9, which is what you see more on displays. But honestly, I like the taller display better because it comes in handy reading articles, PDFs, typing documents, but it does lack that widescreen feeling when you're watching videos. When it comes to media consumption, I would really rely on the MacBook Air over the Surface. Now the ports on both laptops is basically a hit or miss because each device has an advantage and a disadvantage over each other. The MacBook Air has a headphone jack on one side and 2 USB Type-C connectors on the other. That's basically it. The Surface also has a headphone jack, 1 USB Type-A, and a questionably weird idea with the inclusion of a mini DisplayPort. Now the problem with both laptops are the MacBook Air has only 2 Type-C supports, no Type-A, and no Type-A adapter is included. The Microsoft Surface Laptop 2 has no Type-C at all, which means you cannot charge the device through Type-C, and no support for external GPU. External GPU would be something really cool to see on this laptop because it is a U processor, so that extra power could enhance gaming to another level. Now again, you can't charge the laptop through USB Type-C on the Surface, so that means you have to charge it with the returning Surface magnetic connector, which I was never a fan of because it just takes too much space on the side. But a cool thing they added was a USB Type-A port on the power brick. It's a little unusual, but pretty unique. Now one thing I want to mention about ports is that both laptops does not support any SD card slots, which means you have to buy an adapter, which means you're spending more money. Now the design on both laptops are beautiful. The MacBook returning with an aluminum body, but with two new colors on the Air model, space gray and gold. But Microsoft blew away the world with their new matte black model. And I personally like the matte black look better, but the feel is different. The Surface is a magnesium build, so it can easily get scratched up over the MacBook Air, and it's a super fingerprint magnet. It kind of looks gross with all the oil stuck on the magnesium from your fingers. The MacBook Air seems more durable, smoother, and just stronger due to the aluminum design. Now the keyboard and trackpad on both laptops are great, but I like the keyboard on the Surface better and the trackpad on the MacBook Air. The keyboard on the Surface has more of a travel time, which I personally like better over Mac's butterfly keys. The butterfly keys are not so tactile, and it seems like I can just break through the laptop. The touchpad on both are great and very accurate, but I do like the extra size better on the MacBook Air, and it's much more quieter than the Surface laptop. Alright, let's have a listen. This is the MacBook Air. It's pretty quiet. And this is a Surface laptop too. That's a huge difference. It's much louder. I do like the feeling on the Surface laptop keyboard because of the soft, smooth Alcantara fabric, but the MacBook Air has a nice feeling too, but it's just a returning feeling that we all know, which is aluminum. Now both laptop features a sense of biometric to unlock your device. The MacBook Air has a new Touch ID key that uses your fingerprint, and the Surface has Windows Hello, which uses your face to unlock the device. Now they are both fast when it comes to unlocking your device, but I personally feel more comfortable unlocking my laptop with a fingerprint than my face. It just reminds me of Face ID, which I was never a fan of. The speakers are louder on the MacBook Air, and I love Apple's quality when it comes to sound. Not only they are loud, but they are very clear. The Surface has the audio coming below from the keyboard. Now they aren't bad, they're pretty loud, but it's just not as clear as the MacBook Air. Okay, so these two laptops are the best Ultrabooks that are out on the market right now. If you cater more towards the Mac, if you want something that's light and thin with Mac OS, the MacBook Air is yours. If you cater more towards the PC that's a little more productive and can do a little more gaming, the Surface Laptop 2 is yours. Media consumption like watching movies, watching some videos, doing some light work, the MacBook Air because of that wider screen and it has a longer battery life. Doing documents, reading PDFs, typing up essays, light gaming, the Surface Laptop 2 because of that taller display and a better processor. I think you get the most bang on your buck on the Surface Laptop 2 because it starts at $1,000 compared to MacBook's Air, $1,200. Well, that's just my own opinion. That's all we have for this video, guys. Make sure you guys check my review for the Surface Laptop 2 and the MacBook Air. The links are right below. If you do enjoy this video, please like, share, and finesse on that subscribe button. We have till January to achieve 1,000 subscribers because of YouTube's strict, harsh rule, and every support would really help me out. And let's end it off with fun fact number 47. The first product to have a barcode on it was Wrigley's gum. Pretty interesting. Thanks for watching. I'm Zashak. Stay tech strong and deuces.